Hi, my name's Ed and I'm the creator of SuperRoundRobin. Before we dive into the demo, I'd like to answer the top questions that I'm asked about the app. Starting off with object assignment. SuperRoundRobin can assign records from any object, and that's most standard objects and any custom object. And out of the box it's configured to work with lead, case, account, opportunity and contact objects. It's easy to route and segment records in the app. Rules can be created based on either standard or custom fields. They can be routed then to the right team and then assigned by round robin or weighted distribution. Finally, you can set working hours or shifts. The weekly schedule can be specified for each assignee, and on a summary page, that schedule can be switched in just one click. This is perfect for shift workers, part-timers, staff rotations, reps in different time zones. Okay, let's dive in and do the demo. Here on the match group screen, which is the main control screen in SuperRoundRobin, the match group is a container which holds a collection of rules and a collection of assignees, and this particular match group is operating on the lead object, and specifically it's looking for records where the lead source equals web, and when such a record is matched, it would then get assigned via equal round robin to Charlie, Crone and Gabby. Now you can have as many match groups as you need in your organisation. You might have different match groups for different territories that go to either individuals or teams that support those territories. You might have cases that are being segmented and going to different support teams, and the options are quite limitless really. Now we're going to test this lead match group using a web to lead tool here called Postman, and it basically emulates a web to lead form submission. And here we've got pretend lead from Lance Keegan. You can see here that the lead source, I've set that to web, so it should be matched by that match group. So let's submit that lead, and then once we're back here, we go off and have a look at the match log screen, which produces a log of all of the assignments that SuperRoundRobin does. So here we can see that the web leads team match group that we were just looking at has assigned this lead to Crone Gracie. If we go and have a look at the record itself, we can see that this lead, Lance Keegan, has indeed been assigned to Crone Gracie. So let's go and have a look at, let's go and push in a couple more leads. So we've got Wally Fisher here, again lead source is web, push that in, and then I've got another one prepared, Grant, lead source web, push that in as well. And then if we head back over to the match logs screen, we should see Grant and so Grant and Wally have appeared, again matched by the web leads team, and this time it's been assigned to Charlie and then Gabby. Let's just go in and let's post Grant in again, and you should see, if we refresh the match log, we should see it go back to Crone. So here we go, been assigned back to Crone. The match log screen is very useful in being able to identify and understand what's going on with your lead assignments and troubleshoot, especially when you've got a lot of match groups and you've got potentially a lot of users. The other screen that's useful to look at is the working hours summary, and we'll be looking at this in more detail in a few minutes if you want to hang around. That's the end of the basic demo of SuperRoundRobin. That might be enough, and you might want to just go and install on your sandbox and have a play around. Have a look at the knowledge base and check the setup guide, and do email me if you have any questions or comments about the application. If you want to see a little bit more, we're going to spend a few minutes for the rest of the video looking at some features in a bit more detail. We're going to have a look at the working hours functionality, followed by a look at how a typical company might do territory-based assignment. We'll have a look at weighted distribution, which is a mode of assignment which is the alternative to an even round robin, and then we'll finish off by looking at an email to case scenario. So if you're interested in seeing a bit more of a deeper dive, then please hang around. Now let's say for the sake of argument that Gabby's manager has said to me that Thursday she finishes at 12 noon. Well, that's easy for us to sort out because, like I said in the intro, we have these schedules, these weekly schedules with hours. Now, by default, all assignees are available for assignment 24/7. But if we have someone like Gabby, for example, that needs to have some working hours set, we go into her assignee record, create some new assignee working hours. Let's call these Gabby's hours. And you'll see that by default, Monday to Friday, start to finish is 9 till 5, and then the weekends, they're not set at all. Now, let's imagine that Gabby does start at 9, finishes at 5, but on Thursday, she finishes at 12 noon. So we just change that to 12 noon. Save that. Now if we go back to our working hours summary, we'll see that whilst Crone is still assignable 24/7, Gabby has now been set so that her Thursday hours are cut short and she finishes at 12 noon. And as well as being able to see what hours they're doing, there's a status badge which shows their status right now. So their time zone is London. So right now it's pretty late, it's dark outside, and because Gabby finishes at 5 o'clock, we're now out of hours for Gabby. But because Crone is a 24/7 assignee, he's assignable. If we go in and change Crone as well to be a 9 till 5 guy, let's set Crone's hours, we'll find that he's also now out of hours. Now in this instance, what will happen if a lead comes in now, we specified on the match group a queue user, and we specified me there as a queue user. If a lead comes in whilst everybody in that match group is out of hours, that lead will get parked or queued with that queue user. So if I go and post another lead and then have a look at the match log, what we'll find is that she didn't get assigned this time because there are no active assignees, so it's queued, waiting for auto assignment by SuperRoundRobin. So what happens is that as soon as Crone or Gabby come online in the morning, then SuperRoundRobin will automatically assign that queued user to the next one of these guys. It's fairly typical for organisations to want to segment their incoming leads by territory. Here we've got 6 territories or regions, which are collections of states. If we have a look at the Midwest, we've got a bunch of the 2 letter codes for the states, Midwest states in there against the state code field, and likewise for the other one. So if we pick Pacific, then we've got the Pacific states in there. And typically an organisation will have not only territorial fields, but they might have other fields in their match rules as well. I don't want to overcomplicate things here. Another way of looking at it would be to go over to the working hours tab, and as you saw before, we could create hourly schedules for everybody here, but it's also a nice way to be able to see by match group who we've got assigned to the leads that will be segmented by those rules. We're going to have a look now at an example of weighted distribution. So this is a scenario where we might want to assign more leads to a certain assignee over the others in their group. And I'm looking here at the Southeast region where we have Crone, Ellie and Charlie, and you'll notice that Crone and Charlie also appear in the Southwest region, whereas Ellie is only being given leads from the Southeast. So it's conceivable that in this scenario we might want to assign more leads to Ellie from the Southeast region, given that Crone and Charlie are getting leads from 2 regions. So let's go into that region and have a look at their assignee setup. So at the moment it's set up in terms of just an even round robin through Charlie, Ellie and Crone. And if we want to alter that, we need to change this distribution ratio. So let's go into Ellie's record here and increase her distribution ratio to 3. Now if we go back to that match group, you'll see now that Ellie is set now to get 60% of the leads that are matching with that group. So for every lead that Charlie and Crone get, Ellie will get 3. So let's test this out with a CSV import. We're going to import a bunch of leads. So let's go in here from a CSV file that I've already prepared. So let's go and add new records. I'm going to drag in that CSV file, preview that, looks fine. Next, start import, and OK. If we head over to that southeast region where we increase the number of leads that Ellie is meant to get, we should see here, so let's have a look at all of the match logs for that region. So we can see that for every lead now that Crone and Charlie have received, Ellie has received 3 leads. So we've got Crone, Ellie, Charlie, and then a couple more for Ellie. So that demonstrates how we can alter the distribution of leads to the assignees by merely adjusting that distribution ratio. Have a look at a different object. We're going to look at the case object and specifically how we can route or segment cases being generated via the email to case functionality. And here what we've got set up are 2 routing addresses. We've got hardware support routing address and a software support routing address. So these are cases that are being generated by incoming cases sent into these 2 email addresses. Now for each of these routing addresses you're able to go in and specify the priority and the case origin. Now we can leverage the ability that we have to set these leads, and in this case we've set the case origin here to hardware support email for the hardware routing address, and we've done the same thing for software support email. So the way that we leverage this in SuperRoundRobin, if we hop over there, I've already created 2 match groups for the case object. So let's go over to the hardware support team match group. This is almost identical in terms of the process or setup as it is with the lead object. The only difference is we've selected the case object here, and in the match rules, if we go and have a look at the match rule, you can see that we've selected the origin field, and the matching value we're looking for is hardware support email. So that is what we set in that routing address for the hardware support email to case. And the same again, we did the same again for the software support team and specified that the origin there should equal the software support email. But this is a quick demonstration of how we can set this up quickly for the case object and specifically for how we can segment cases being generated by the email to case functionality. If you've made it this far through the video, then you are indeed a hardcore demo watcher. Thanks for sticking out this far. Hopefully you saw the features that are going to be valuable for your organization. And once you've installed and had a play around, feel free to email me. I'm always happy to help with setup and implementation. But for now, thank you and goodbye.